let's begin what's trending with the public this morning waking up with outrage, with fury, and shock over a horrifying new video trending on social media, which shows the shooting and killing of a 28-year-old suspect, Mene Ogidi, by an assistant superintendent of police, Nuhu Usman, on camera in broad daylight in Delta State. Now, the incident itself taking place on Sunday, according to police, with the minute-and-a-half video showing the last moments of the suspect's life. Now, in the video, the suspect begs the officers through tears not to take his life. But as he's begging, Officer Nuhu preps his rifle, aims, and kills him right there on the spot. And right after that, the officers drag the suspect's dead body into the car behind them. In a statement on Tuesday, Delta State Police said that their command was acting on intelligence from members of the public, as the suspect was said to be collected to a parcel allegedly containing a Beretta pistol. People are so upset at this video, it's hard to watch. We didn't show the whole thing, but there's so many different threads to this story. And I'm wondering how you see it.
Well, people have every reason, every right to be obsessed. You will recall that the NSAS protest in 2021 was provoked by this kind of lawlessness, recklessness by uniformed officials, particularly at that time, the police. This time around, this week alone, you brought the story of a National Youth Service Corps member who was killed in Shagari quarters in Day in Abuja, Federal Capital Territory, by men of the Guards Brigade. And I think we still discussed that matter yesterday. Yeah. That was a case of extrajudicial killing. And we're still dealing with that. Now we have this story that also on the 26th of April, Mene Ogidi, 28 years old, was also murdered. The word is murdered. In the statement that the police used, they said that a suspect was killed. No, he was murdered. He was assassinated. Now, in the statement by the police PRO, one bright Edafe, superintendent of police of the Delta State Police Command, he said the gentleman that they got intelligence from the public that he was going to reveal, a package containing a Beretta pistol. And acting on that information, the guy, Mene Ogidi, 28 years old, was apprehended by the police. But they then, on their own, decided to assassinate him. This was a fellow who had said it was somebody in Sapele who asked him to collect that package. Now, he had already given them a lead for what can be investigated. Now, they shot him. I saw the video. We were told that he didn't die. He was taken to the station. And then at the station, this same ASP Nuhu Usman, that is his name, a man known as Ogbegbe, who had worked in RRS and SAS, decided to beg the guy. As Nigerians say, he decided to buy the accused person. Now, this is a miscarriage of justice. This is unacceptable. This is, offensive, because it's also a violation of what the police called standard operating procedure. It is also a violation, as a Gbafe, the spokesperson pointed out, of Force Order 237. So the police violating his own laws, the police violating his own procedures, the police violating the Constitution of Nigeria, the right of persons to fair hearing, to due process. So it's just as well that this ASP Nuhu Usman, called Ogbegbe, has now been taken to the force headquarters in Abuja, and that, the police headquarters will be looking into this matter and ensure that there is justice for Ogemene, which people are asking for. Absolutely. So we are with this, and we hope that the investigation and the outcome will not be swept under the market. Because to have a police force and a and an armed forces that both just shoot at will and assassinate people, murder persons, deny them their rights without establishing the truth. The courts exist to look at matters and for people to have their day in court, but to engage in extrajudicial killing is a bad statement on the state of justice administration in Nigeria.
Absolutely.
I mean, we can talk about NSAS police brutality, which we've constantly talked about, the state of mind of police officers or the state of mind of people that hold guns. I mean, it's reflective of the nation we live in. It's a very lawless nation. It's a nation where people do not have appreciation for the lives of people and individuals. It's a nation where people do things and they go scot-free with it. That officer probably, you have a long-winded court case and maybe he might be left to go at some point. I mean, we've seen so many like that happen, you know, in the past and all of that. But I want to profile a theory. There is more than meets the eye in this case. A police officer arresting a man. The man was already arrested. He posed no threats.
I thought he was tied.
He was already tied. Why did he kill him? Are they trying to conceal something or a confession that we do not know? Because the man there, while he was crying, was saying, I'm ready to confess and say everything. And as he was trying to confess, he was killed. Secondly, what about the other people on the team?
Yep.
Apart from being the leader of the team, what about the other people? Because I don't just think a Nigerian police officer, you've tied somebody to the ground, in that place we just go ahead and shoot if there's no reason to conceal something. And Dr. Abatti, based on your account, he said when they took him to the police, he had not finished, he had not died.
He didn't die immediately.
And they killed him further than the police. So there's something wrong.
Absolutely.
So this is my theory to it, because it looks way too patchy for me that a police officer, I do not think Nigerian police officer would just, you have already, you know,
You've tied him.
You've tied him.
Harmless.
You've taken control over him. He's harmless now. And then he starts to say he will give information. He will tell you the trail. Then you silence him giving that information if you're supposed to investigate him. So there's something more than me. The question is, who is that ring that transferred that weapon? What is it with this man that he killed him for? There has to be silence. I think this is another thing we should be able to look at. Apart from we can say, oh, police brutality and all of that, that's there. But this story looks like more than meets the eyes to me.
And I
Yeah,
like
and
it.
all the other 5 police officers
that were
who
there
were on
equally.
the scene
Yes.
Right.
at that time should also be
They should be
taken to
reviewed.
the
Yeah.
first
And
headquarters.
they looked and they didn't resist
And tried,
when
yes.
this was
They
happening.
didn't appeal. They
They
didn't
didn't
say
appeal.
anything.
There are
Absolutely.
accessories before and after the fact.
So
There was a murder,
it
there's
looks,
a
it
loss.
looks.
Absolutely.
Very suspicious.
And
Yeah.
I like your thoughts. But so police PR has been working overtime in the last 24 hours because of these 2 really big stories about how the force is perceived by the public and how they relate with Nigerians.
If the police can reform, effective reform, they won't need to spend a lot of money on PR, because Nigerians don't need PR. What we want is a change in the police force. And thank you for that with regards to the trust deficit between the people and the police and the perception of the police, public perception of the police, which at the moment is probably very low. And this is a charge to the IGP of police. He's still quite, relatively new in office, IGP Olatunji Disu, that he has his work cut out for him. Here we are on this table, consistently advocating for the welfare of our security forces, including the police. And on the other hand, they make it difficult for Nigerians to feel sympathy for them when we hear stories like this. I think it's important to mention that we cannot tar everybody with the same brush, because there are good police officers who are on duty. So these are the conversations that we must have. Number one is we are calling for a total and a proper reform of the police. It has not been good or better since the NSAS protest. So they just disbanded NSAS. And then, like Dr. Abatti mentioned, or was it Rufai that said the man was formerly with SARS and now we deployed. So we still have the people with the same mindset in the police force. So it's not about nomenclature. It's not about the name they are called. It is about the mindset of the people who are being given guns and given responsibility to secure the lives and properties of Nigeria. It's a dangerous situation we face, and Nigerians ought to be concerned. And I believe that the IG of police, as well as the police service, ought to look into this matter very seriously. And it's not for PR. Then the other part I was going to mention was that with regards to the Delta State issue, this is a country where there are talks about non-kinetic response to bandits, where we are told that bandits should get rehabilitated, some of them. And I made this argument as well, presenting the argument of the other side that, some of them were enticed into crime. People who have killed people. This is a young man who is just a suspect, extrajudicially killed by a member of the police force. It is sad. It is terrible. And I remember the argument was that how do we weigh the scale? Who should be forgiven? Who should be killed like this on the street? And who should be rehabilitated and given a shwebi? Those are the questions. It is just a system where unfairness and there's injustice in the system, and it doesn't all go well for any nation. And so what I'm calling on the police today is that beyond PR, beyond releasing statements, can we see action? Can we see consequences for matters like this? Can we see an end to matters like this? And even more importantly, can we have a mindset reevaluation of the men who carry guns, so that we don't have criminals or people who are hardened on drugs being there to safeguard the people? It is very sad, and I hope that the police will do more than release statements.
Yeah.
The second point, when we had NSAS, one of the demands was for psychological evaluation. The police headquarters at that time, moved people around and said they were going to do psychological evaluation. Yeah. Well, we don't see the evidence, particularly with the event in Delta State Police Command, that there has been a psychological evaluation. A man who in broad daylight by the roadside will kill a human being wearing a police uniform with a police vehicle, something must be wrong with him mentally. And we recommend that recommendation should be reconsidered, and there should be regular psychological evaluation for people who carry taxpayers' guns and use the same guns to assassinate civilians.
Absolutely.